Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CW, I'm down here at the old BTH&T. Got a tale for you. Usually I know about these. This one caught me completely off guard. It's been around for like decades. So, what can I tell you? Some of the best stories I know start when someone dies. I know that sounds tragic, or I'm just a disappointed homicide detective, but that's the way it goes. That was their saying. Our day begins when your day ends. Come on, it makes a great coffee mug. You can't beat that stuff. But anyway, this one is one of those tales where everything starts when someone dies. Our central character passed away November 6th, 1989. 1989. He was in Norway at a family's retreat in the mountains. His grandson, I'll try to pronounce his name as it's Norwegian, Triga, maybe Travis Triga. Well, he felt that his grandfather, Bredo, should spend suspend his time in California. Yeah, suspend. There's more to it. Hang on. That's where Bredo would be frozen cryogenically, of course, until the science of medicine could relieve him of his icy nap of whatever killed him with a cure. So Bredo's body was surrounded by dry ice and transported to San Lorenzo, California, where he was stored at sub-zero temperatures and, for a time being. But there was a limit of finances involved. Usually there's liquid nitrogen used for this procedure. But because of those constraints, dry ice was used. The facility, I think it was called, was Trans Time. It's in California. So Frozen Grandpa stayed at this location until 1993. As you could imagine, there are some, unusual medical practices here, procedures, and naturally some of these just aren't covered by insurance and can become very costly. This was the case. So without payment, old Bredo would be thawed and removed without cash. So again, Frozen Grandpa was packed with dry ice, shipped off to Nederland, California. Colorado. Placed in the backyard in a shed. You see, Bredo's grandson, Ty, we'll just go with that, came to the United States in 1980 because he wanted to avoid a nuclear war. Because Norway is, I guess, back then, primed for nuclear war. California is not ground zero. He's been arrested. He was arrested a couple of times for trespassing, making a joke about hijacking an aircraft. All those things that law enforcement just doesn't get a giggle out of. So this long-haired, long hippie type guy, that's visible in California, after all the hippies had left, basically for the acute commune or Napa Valley, he's the one that wants to take care of his grandpa. In 1993, his mother, Aud, A-U-D, met up with her son, and they made arrangements to build an earthquake, flood-proof, disaster-proof, fire-proof estate. It kind of looked like a funny-looking gray castle, but that's what it was. And the estate was complete with a shed in the backyard. And that's where they put Grandpa, in the shed. And he was soon, I guess it was a pretty good facility because they picked up another individual, a guy named Al from Chicago. They put him in dry ice in the shed. This is Colorado in the 90s. I don't think they had legalized cannabis sativa yet. So we can't blame that. So Bredo's son had planned to make this a fully operational cryogenics facility out of a shed. And even sold, his mother sold the property in Norway to invest in this shed facility. However, it was never finished. Both the bodies were not kept frozen at the required temperatures of a minus 320 degrees below zero. Well, minus 320. Usually that's what liquid nitrogen can do for you. But they were at like 109, minus 109 temperatures. The Tag's visa expired, and he had to run for a while, but he was soon deported back to Norway in the spring of 1994. So he just left his mom there in Colorado, and she had some issues. And it didn't take too long before the town realized that she's living in a facility, or, excuse me, a gray-looking castle thing that didn't have any plumbing or water or electricity in it. So she was issued an eviction notice, basically, for health reasons. And Og became frightened about this situation, so she asked for help from one of the local newspapers or dime papers or whatever they had. And pretty soon, she was afraid that the bodies would be found out. And the bodies were found out. Everybody came down, the police, everybody. And pretty soon it became an international incident. And people were recording that, bodies were kept there, the town of Netherlands passed an emergency ordinance that made it illegal for anyone to have a whole or a part of a body that was dead in your house. It's illegal on your property anywhere to have someone dead or part of someone who's dead, or even an animal that was, which kind of makes me think about taxidermy. I don't know how that would go in. Well, things didn't go well for Bredo's wife, Og. She was found guilty of living in a building that was subject to a final inspection and never had it. And apparently there was a few more little violations about changing the building's use. And there were some zoning issues. So she was deported as well. The one that wasn't deported was Bredo, still frozen. Well, the guy Al, who came from Chicago, his family found out, and they came and got him. And I believe they went ahead, took him back to Chicago and had him cremated. Or he was cremated, then taken back to Chicago. The city of Netherlands, Colorado, they just wanted to either thaw out old Bredo and just bury him, and that would be the end of it. But his son Tag would not allow this to rest, even from Norway. He made use of the internet, and he kept his fight up with the city. The town allowed frozen grandpa to be grandfathered in. So the ordinance was okay. He could just stay there if you could, provide for him. And Bredo Morstoel was allowed, for the time being, to remain in the shed. Later, the town embraced the frozen dead guy in celebration. The shed, as it aged, was replaced by a tough shed that was donated by Tough Sheds Incorporated and a local radio station. Bredo was later encased in an aluminum casket that was enclosed in a wood crate, and a local environmental consultant was a custodian, and once a month, would drop by with 3/4 of a ton of dry ice to put inside the shed to keep the temperature comfortable. Well, as comfortable as it can be for Bredo. Well, I wish the story ended, but it didn't. Believe it or not, the town started the Frozen Dead Guy Days in 2003. There's a grandpa lookalike contest. I kid you not, this is a real thing. A polar plunge and a coffin race during this event. In 2019, they drew 25,000 people to the event. But sadly, today the shed is empty. Grandpa Bredo, he's been moved to the International Cryonics Museum. I think he was moved in August 2023. That is in Estes Park, just up the road from Netherlands, Colorado. The museum is on the grounds of the Stanley Hotel, That's right, the Shining Hotel. History is fun, isn't it? By the way, tickets are on sale for the March 2025 celebration. I'll attach a link below. I'm not kidding. Well, that's history. It's all in the past. I hope you like this type of story. I do. And if you don't like it, or please like the video. If you don't, leave me a comment. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.